Welcome everybody to another edition of Staten Island Soccer Report, coming to you live tonight from the studios of CTV. We're in Studio A tonight. A lot more elbow room in the studio. Tonight we'll focus on the World Cup. We'll call it the World Cup wrap-up with featured guests Ludovico Masucci, Jamie Hickson, and Frank Tricomi. Welcome, gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So right off the bat, I think we should jump right into this with the United States. You know, we're in the U.S. So what went wrong? Actually, from game one, let's break it down. The United States against Ghana. Anybody could just jump in. We'll start with Ludo.
Well, United States, based on the talent they had, I think they did the most they could have done. They got out of the most difficult group in the World Cup, and they played Germany really well. And let's not forget that the United States, there's a lot of heart, there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of dedication, and everyone puts 150%. But what United States was lacking was the depth.
Right.
And when you go to your bench, players, and you bring subs in, and then of course the Josie Altidore injury, the first 20 minutes,
yeah, that hurt.
That of course had to change Klinsmann's plan. But USA, I think they did fairly well. They didn't go further, the same like the 2010 World Cup. So nothing changed from that point of view, but it should be interesting now in 2018. And Klinsmann has a certain plan that he wants to adopt. So basically what Klinsmann wants to do for 2018, he wants to follow the same game plan like Germany did 10 years ago.
Right.
Basically to bring in the naturalized players from other nations, looking from every angle of the world where there's a possible American soccer player with a possible American passport that one of the two parents are American born, and that's where he found 5 of his players in Germany.
Like Giuseppe Rossi, right?
Correct.
So
and
that's an example, right? He was born here, parents are Italian, and he's with the national team.
Well, 5 players on the U.S. national team this year were from Germany. American fathers, German mothers. Right. They were all in the military in Germany.
Let's get back to the depth, Jamie. We spoke about depth on this United States team. Was Donovan supposed to be part of that depth, right? What do you think?
Supposedly, yeah, but Jurgen Klinsmann thought otherwise. But it's interesting how you mentioned the U.S. doing well. They really overachieved when you think about it. Being in that group of death, excuse me, they really took a lot of people by surprise. And as far as the depth is concerned, why was there no backup plan for Josie Altidore? Injuries can happen at any time. Not once did he consider putting in a capable backup for that young man. At the same time, I'm really not sure if Landon Donovan could make that much of a difference considering who the Americans were up against. They got really lucky against Ghana. Portugal, that game really got away from them. Yeah. Another problem, no killer instinct. The Americans really had a chance to grab the Portugal game by the throat, and for some reason, instead of mounting an attack, they just pulled back, and it wound up burning them for the last 30 seconds. Germany completely dominated them. I didn't see the Americans mount one single attack on the offensive zone the entire game. They were on their heels the entire time. They were always in the defensive. Don't let the 1-0 score fool you. The Americans were completely outclassed in this one.
Did you guys get the feeling that the United States was like intimidated by Germany?
I'm not sure if they were intimidated by them. It's just that Germany was just better.
They were just, well, we know they were a better club to begin with, but intimidation, maybe a mind game, sort of like.
Well, but that's what going back to what Klinsmann was saying. One thing is when a player is from the MLS, where the intensity the mindset, the focus, the determination.
Right.
It's a total different game. And that's why Klinsmann wants most of his players to play overseas or to have that European experience where you play Champions League, you play in Bundesliga, Serie A, EPL, where the approach is completely different.
And that's going to make the difference.
That will make a difference in 2018. And look against Belgium. Belgium, Tim Howard had a great game, 16 saves. And if that game...
Okay, guys, I think we got a call on the line. Welcome, you're on Staten Island Soccer Report. All right, SpongeBob's on this show tonight. We could cut that call. Guys, feel free anytime to jump in. Frank, guys, on any topics.
So against Belgium, if that first half would have finished 3-0, nobody could have said anything based on the saves that were made.
Yeah,
but then at the end, with a little bit of luck, USA could have won the game
they had a chance.
in the 89th minute with Zusi.
Yeah, he clearly missed the shot.
So the mental approach is everything. And what I really enjoy about watching USA, in other countries, the World Cup starts in the locker room. But USA, because of that determination, that passion, the flag comes first. The flag comes first. Even if there's nonsense, if there's fighting, if there's controversy in the locker room that a player may not like the coach or a player may not like other players, for this country, in any sport, the flag comes first. And that's why you see every player in every sport, when it comes to the flag to play for the United States, they'll put in 170%.
So you're saying if there's any locker room issues for the United States, they'll diffuse it?
Yes,
It'll
absolutely.
be diffused right away.
Because you're playing for the United States of patriotism. Correct.
It doesn't become like a cancer and the whole team shuts down.
Correct. And that's what happened with Italy.
That's interesting. I mean, Frank, anything on this, U.S.?
I think, again, the Portugal game was a little bit, again, they could have pulled that one out. I think Germany, because they knew where they were, they didn't really lay it on. I think they really could have ran that score up on us. And I think the U.S., from their point, they knew that it was going to take a big win for Portugal to advance. So I think they just kind of played a defensive game and just tried to keep the score down. So,
yeah, Jamie, I think the U.S. got lucky. They got through on goal differential also.
Yeah, they really did get lucky.
Let's go back to
Thank you, John Brooks.
If Germany does not blow out Portugal in the first game, say they win 1-0, the U.S. doesn't go through, right?
Yeah, exactly right.
So let's not, get too carried away with their performance on the field. Having heart and desire and passion, that's all great, but you got to have skill at the same time.
Yeah, quality. That's what USA
have quality
currently
players, and they're lacking that.
Yes, they're lacking quality.
The quickness is there, but the technical ability and the fundamental skill, they have a lot of work to do.
Right, exactly. So, I mean.
So now it's interesting. It will be interesting in 2018. Hopefully these 5 players that are coming from Germany, and hopefully Klinsmann will find other players in other parts of the world with American passports to get certain players to play in Europe. And also what would be interesting in 2018 is the first generation of U.S. Academy players that was established 6 years ago.
Right.
Let's see how many players from the U.S. Academy clubs in the United States will be called to the World Cup and play in 2018 in Russia. That will be interesting to see.
Be ready to play and make a difference. They need to be ready to play and make contributions to the team, scoring goals or whatever it's, right?
Correct.
They can't just come and play. I mean, you got to make a difference.
But remember, if you're only going to call players, if the United States soccer team will play in a World Cup only with players coming out of the MLS, you will never achieve yes, you will come out of the group stage, but you will never go any further than what you did in 2010 and 2014, because the the philosophy, the mindset, the intensity of the MLS compared to European seasons, to European competitions, is completely different.
We'll get into the MLS in a little bit. I still want to work on this U.S. team. What was your take on Bradley's performance?
What performance?
Exactly.
He basically, he was a no-show for the entire tournament. I mean, granted, he had his moments. I mean, he played reasonably better against Portugal, but sandwiched around that game, he was just a total no-show.
I got to disagree with that. I think that was one of his worst games. I think the Portugal game was the game that he gave the ball up with 20.
He lost the ball, 20 seconds left in the middle, correct.
Right?
He lost the ball in the middle.
Yeah, it's probably one of his worst.
But also, let's not forget that Klinsmann changed Bradley's position for the World Cup.
I understand.
He was playing a little bit up behind the forward, while in Rome he was playing more defensively.
You know what?
And I don't think he adapted really well. Plus, physically, he was not. Physically was not there.
If he's not physically fit, then he shouldn't be on the field. But you've played this game, right? You know, right? Now, if I'm your coach and I ask you, I say, Ludo, can you play sweeper for me? And you accept, and you say, yes, that's it. I don't want to hear anything else. If you played bad, then that's on you. If you accept the position that the coach is asking you to do, you have to play it well.
But I'm not saying, we're not discussing that. I'm sure he did give 150%, but that's what you have. Who do you put there? Unfortunately, United States doesn't have a Pirlo, doesn't have a Giuseppe Rossi, doesn't have a Cassano, or someone that can give nice passes and give nice balls in tight spaces. You don't have that. You have to rely mostly on physicality. That's the USA game.
No, that's where I disagree with you, John. Because if, like Ludo said, they're in a pinch and they really need someone to play a position, and the guy's stepping up and showing a willingness to do it for his team, because that's what his team needs. You know, you got to respect that, and you can't throw it all on him if he's willing to try and make that sacrifice. I understand that there's no medals for participation, and I'm not in agreement of that, but you have to realize that if he made the sacrifice,
he's part of the reason that the U.S. didn't win that Portugal game.
Oh, absolutely.
That game they should have won. They win that game, they're already in. They're through the next round, possibly winning the group and going through an easier round of 16 game, possibly. We don't know what that Germany game would have been. But you know what? It's a team game. And
you also need luck, John. Don't forget,
you do need luck.
In anything in life, yes, you do need quality, you do need the locker room, you do need all the ingredients, but then at the end, you also need a little bit of luck. And Chile is
what we do in this country is we dissect everything, and I'm focusing on Bradley more now because he's the guy that cost us at least one game.
Yeah.
Definitely cost us one game. Get that ball out of there. 30 seconds. You're playing with it in the middle of the field. If he clears it up, just kicks it up or keeps it in the corner, you run out the clock, and it's a different story. This is what we do in this country. We dissect, stuff like that. So going on, I mean, I guess the best player for the U.S., we were all in agreement, is Howard.
Absolutely.
Right? He was their best player.
Tim Howard, Clint Dempsey, who got two big goals in the Ghana game, and showed he could still do it.
He scored 2 in that game?
Scored twice in the Ghana game. Okay. John Brooks showed that he could be a really promising player for them in the next 4 years.
I'm not sold on Dempsey at all. I don't think. I think he needs to do a lot more if he wants all this attention. He needs to do a lot more.
You're right about Tim Howard, though. What is he, 40 years of age, and he's still moving around like he's 15 years younger?
No, he's younger.
English Premier League is...
He's in his 30s.
He's about 30. He's in mid-30s. I would say 30,
30s?
34. I think goalkeeper, I think he can still play in 2000 and 2018. Absolutely, in Russia. We will definitely see him there in 2000.
The English Premier League is really lucky to have a player like him.
Well, look at the Italians. They got Buffon. He doesn't want to give up. He's close to 40. Mm-hmm. What is he, 37?
Well, here's now, this is what we spoke about before, Tim Howard. Tim Howard has that mentality, that focus, that intensity, because week in and week out, he plays in the EPL, Europa League.
Yes.
He knows what it is like, and not the MLS that one
Right.
time a week you just go and play, and the intensity level of the MLS is completely different than the intensity level of any game in the EPL, Serie A, Bundesliga,
Any other
or
league.
La
Any other
Liga,
league.
or any other league.
Any
I
other
mean,
league.
the famous ones,
The big ones, right.
the big ones in Europe.
Yeah.
You cannot compare the MLS with the European leagues, and definitely Tim Howard has that.
Yeah,
That
without a
mental,
doubt. Without a
mental
doubt.
approach, without a doubt, and he showed it in the World Cup, especially against Belgium.
So, on this U.S. team right now, who do you see that's going to emerge, star players? Any of these young guys? What's the big name, the next big name, like a Donovan type?
Well, the next big names we do not know. Hopefully, Klinsmann can place some of these players in Europe,
Right.
and hopefully they can play in a European competitive team and have
All right.
that Champions League experience.
Look out for John Brooks. The kid's got skills.
Yes, he does. All right, I think we have a caller on the line. Caller, you're on Staten Island Soccer Report. Going once, twice. All right, we'll continue on until we get this caller on, if we have a call. Yeah.
So- No, we cannot.
All right, we'll continue on until they get the problem fixed.
So it's so it's
Yes, caller, you're on Staten Island Soccer Report.
Hey, Coach John, it's Eric.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Not bad. What's going on?
Sorry I couldn't be there tonight.
All right, no problem, Eric. What do you got? This is Eric Rosen.
Well, there are a lot of things I got. I thought this World Cup that were amazing.
You got 7 seconds delay.
But I'll try to keep it short.
Go
Sure,
right
go.
ahead, man.
All right, the fact that Brazil got blown out 7-1.
That's music to John's ears.
You had countries like Algeria and Costa Rica, Colombia, and all these kinds of countries that made it to the round of 16 that made this tournament so amazing.
So true.
And Yanis Rodriguez winning the Golden Boot with 6 goals, unbelievable.
Yes, a new up-and-coming new name,
young.
young player. I think France
And
also.
one of my favorite players, Lionel Messi.
Yeah, Messi.
Let's. He really wants to talk about Lionel
Who
Messi.
basically came through for Argentina.
All right.
Okay. All right.
All right, Eric. Any last words?
Yes, you guys are doing a great job. I know there's a lot of things I would like to have said, so I couldn't be there. And have a good show tonight, fellas.
All right, thank you for calling in. And
sir.
you're welcome anytime on the show, Eric. Have a good night. All right, guys, that's Eric Rosen, co-host with Jamie on In the Bleachers here every Monday night. You guys do a great show.
Thank you.
Talking about all 5 major, I think all 5 sports, right? You cover everything, right?
Yep.
Just about everything going on. All right, let's continue here. Let's wrap up with the U.S. We have another 40 minutes to go here. I mean, we mentioned any bright stars? Not really, not yet, because we want to see the develop, right?
Well, you have Green, very young, and I think that was a gutsy move by Klinsmann to put him in
Put him in there.
against Belgium, and he did score. So hopefully Bayern Munich will give him more time to play. He's still young, and
Okay.
he still has 3 more World Cups. And hopefully, like we said before, hopefully Klinsmann will find certain players from other parts of the world doing some digging and finding some players with American passports like he did with the 5 that he played this year.
Okay.
And hopefully some good players can come out of the U.S. Academy with these, I believe, 80, 90 clubs that are part of United States Soccer Academy that they have to train in a certain way and play and get called up to the camps. And hopefully once they do get called up, hopefully they can be placed in Europe and gain that European experience that will be necessary to play in
So
2018
that's the
in
thing.
Russia.
That's the big question. Training in this country, is it enough?
Not at all, no.
Not
If you
enough.
want to compete on the biggest stage, if you want to go further and you want to build something, or you just want to do an appearance every 4 years, that's different. We know that the United States can get out of CONCACAF,
Right.
can qualify
Right.
for the World Cup,
Right.
can get out of the group, but what's next?
That's it. Why does it end there? Is it because of the talent, the teams they're facing?
Well,
After?
it's a little.
That's it, right?
It's a little. Well, once you always have that in every tournament,
Question mark.
in every league, you always have that Cinderella story. This year was Costa Rica.
Right.
I believe a month ago we did talk about Belgium, about the surprise, and Belgium was the surprise.
Right.
It was a nice team. They also did a lot of rebuilding since 1986.
Okay.
Last time they lost to, they appeared in the World Cup over 25 years ago. So it's building. It's building
process.
and preparation and
right.
hopefully you will
Jamie,
get somewhere.
any last words on the United States before?
I guess we have another phone call.
All right, looks like we got another call. We'll hold on to that question, Jamie. We'll get back to you. Caller, you're on Staten Island Soccer Report. All right, control room. We could cut it loose. Jamie, any last words on the United States before we go on?
It's funny because I heard Tommy Smith, who did such a great job
Yes.
doing commentary for ESPN Radio all throughout the tournament.
Yes.
He was asked whether there was going to be a World Cup for the Americans down the road. Not sure if it's going to happen in 2018. Maybe within the next, I would say, 8 to 12 years.
Right.
If they really, really build up their talent pool. This is where U17 and even younger than that falls in. If they can really develop their youth program, they might be able to stumble upon something here.
Right. Okay. Frankie, any last words on the United States soccer?
Again, just hoping that next time maybe they could, go a little bit further, because
Yeah, we all hope that they could get past the round of 16, but,
Planning and preparation.
Okay, we got another caller. This might be the last one for the night. Caller on Staten Island Soccer Report. Nothing going on.
Hang them up and that's it.
Yeah, that's it for tonight. We're having some problems with the phone line, so we'll just cancel the calls for the rest of the night. All right, the next big story in this World Cup. I mean, they mentioned that it was the most goals in, is it 50 years?
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Oh, it's a really good
It's a really good thing for the game, I agree.
You guys think it's a good thing?
Oh,
Why
big
is it a
time.
good thing? For the Americans that they see
It's
in
good
goal
for the
scoring?
sport of soccer.
But isn't soccer typically a low-scoring game to begin with?
Well, people
That's-
want to see goals.
Yeah,
People want to
that's-
see goals. They want to see a show. They want to see a good show. They want to see
In
goals
this
scored.
country we're talking about, or we're talking about worldwide? In Europe, do they want to see goals? They want to see 7 goals in Europe?
Well, in Europe, they really don't care
Depends who's
because
playing.
they're kind of used to seeing the low-scoring games. But here in the States, they want to see some scoring. They're sick and tired of having to watch a 1-0 score and then having to sleep through the majority of the game. Just the other night,
Right.
Portland versus Seattle in MLS play,
Yes.
0.3 rating.
Right,
The
Sunday
more,
night.
the more scoring you get, the more ratings it's going to bring
What
up.
was the final in that game? Do you recall?
I think it might have been 2-1.
2-1. Oh, that's not high to me. 2-1 is that average. 3 goals is average. 1-0, 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
Those are typical soccer scores right there. All right, so you guys are saying you guys all agree a high scoring was good.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm for the low scoring, so.
As much
Always
as I didn't
prefer
like
more
the,
defensive.
Well, it's also, John, we have to, soccer is a particular sport. There might be a game that's going to end 0-0, but you're going to see 2 posts on one side and 1 crossbar on the other side.
Right.
And teams playing very openly and going back and forth at each other without playing a tactical chess match game. That's what probably you mean.
Right.
People do not want to watch tactical chess
I like
games.
that. I like that.
They want that open, going back and forth, more or less one game that I really enjoyed watching was Brazil against Chile.
Yes.
They were going at each other back and forth for 120 minutes.
Yes.
That was a beautiful game to watch, and too bad for Chile. Also, they could have won at the last minute.
Chile, right?
And then they lost on penalties. But let's keep in mind one thing. Let's not confuse the World Cup with the EPL and the Bundesliga, where you have 34 games, 38 games in a season.
Right.
The World Cup is divided in two. You have the group stage, where you try to play your games and try to get out of the group. Once you get out of the group, it now becomes direct elimination. Now everybody tightens up, because you know that it's only one game and one mistake, you're out of the World Cup. And nobody wants to make those mistakes. So you play more of a tactical chess game, because you're waiting for the other team to make that little mistake and capitalize. So the second part of the World Cup, the knockout stage, a lot of goals we saw were in overtime and on set plays.
Set plays, right? Yes. Yeah, definitely goal scoring went down after the group stage.
Everybody puts on the
except for one game. Except for that one game, that Brazil game.
Against, the semifinal.
7-1.
8 goals in that game. That was a shot.
That's a different.
Let's focus on one country. Let's go to, pick a country, Jamie.
Any country?
Who do we want to break down right now? Yeah. Just pick one right off the top.
England.
Let's go to England.
Wow.
Right.
All I could say is wow. And well, I almost said Michael Owen, but that's going way, way back.
Yes.
But Wayne Rooney. Now I can see why he's having so many problems in international play, whereas he's just a hit in the EPL. Where was this guy?
Is it?
I would say
because he's playing the best of the best now.
I would say where was the team?
Where was the team?
The team did not show up.
His first World Cup goal in this tournament that just passed. He only scored one. Right? He's only got one for his whole career. So he's not a clutch player. Now maybe because you put this guy with the best players in the world, he can't produce for you. Does that have something to do with it?
I don't think so, John. I think that we all know that EPL is the most popular championship in the world.
Right.
It's also one of the oldest.
It's the oldest. It's the richest. It sells itself really well. They play a lot of games, and Manchester United just signed a 10-year deal, new sponsorship with Adidas, worth $1.2 billion.
Yes.
So the league knows how to sell itself. It knows, and let's not forget, they play at least 100 games a year. They have 2 cups. They play New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, Christmas Eve. They don't take a break.
All year round.
And they always play and give 150% every week. So basically, they're playing 3 games a week. So now, World Cup comes around. What can these players give you? They already been squeezed like lemons since August.
So you don't think that's the case for, say, the Italian team? They play all year round too.
Well, they do. That's the case. That's what was the case this year. Spain also, absolutely.
Even though they were an aging team, they were a little older than everybody else.
Italy, if you remember, in 2012, the European Cup, we got to the final. Why?
Yes.
Because most players that played on the national team in 2012, they played on Juventus. Okay. And Juventus that year, they not play European.
Right.
They did not play Champions League.
Okay.
So those players, they played less games, so means you are more...
A little fresher.
A little fresher when you get to the World Cup. And this is going to be England every time unless they change. EPL needs to change.
Has England ever won a World Cup?
1966, yes.
Yeah.
Just one.
Just one.
Wow. Okay,
that was the controversial goal that may or may not have crossed the line.
Right. Really? And they cannot even get out of the group.
Well, they needed that goal line technology that they have now.
Yeah.
They cannot even get out of the group, and they don't even. I think they're not even trying to change something for the future.
Did they get a win in their last game?
No, they tied.
They tied. Well, they went home with a point. It's one of those teams where you expect them to do well because they have the players, right? They have good players on the team. You expect England to do well in these big tournaments, but
It's when the legs do not respond
That's
to the brain, and that's what happened.
What could they do? They can't do anything. The World Cup, FIFA can't do anything. Can they play this tournament in August instead of?
No, they cannot.
They cannot.
They cannot because all the clubs and they would lose. They would
Plus,
lose
the
money.
season begins in August, so it's cutting it a little close.
Can they use the World Cup as like a training, like a preseason games?
No.
No, they can't. So you'd rather have it at the end of a season when
Correct.
players are dragging their backside. You'd rather have them drag into the World Cup, tired, and go into World Cup. You'd rather have that?
Well, that was
or you
not
give them a month off.
Well, that was not the case with Germany, even though certain players in Germany, they do play for Bayern Munich, and Bayern Munich won their championship back in January.
Right.
So the only game they were playing, Bayern Munich, was Champions League.
Champions League.
And look what happened at the end.
Yeah.
They were dominated by
So there's no
Real
way.
Madrid.
So FIFA can't do anything to give these players a rest before the World Cup. They can't do. There's no way.
No.
They don't have the time for it.
It's all money, it's all business,
It's all money.
and the clubs lose money, and everyone loses money. So, I would say it has to be played in June. Next year you have Copa America, 2016 you have the European Cup, and then 2018 we're back again.
What about them cutting the season down? Maybe ending in at the end of April. Give them a month off. Give them May off. Or have at least a week, give them 3 weeks off.
Well, they do end. They do
like
end.
middle of May now, right? The middle of May.
Well, even before, unless you have teams that qualify for the final of the Champions League or Europa League, but they do have sufficient time. Usually during a World Cup year, the season ends a couple of weeks before.
Right.
But again, in order to end before, you have to play on Wednesdays.
Right.
A few games have to be
You
played
gotta
during the week.
Squeeze them in.
So now you have the Carling Cup, and you have the other cup, and you have Champions League, and you have the midweek. So they're constantly playing three games a week.
I got to say that I would, try to cut down on these tournaments, on these cups, on the World Cup year. Try to cut down. Give these players some extra rest so they can perform better in the World Cup. Jamie, the weather was atrocious in Brazil, right?
I think that goes without saying. I mean, when you have humidity that's going up there near around 70 or 80% and the temperatures are constantly reaching 90 degrees, it's hard for these guys to be hydrated. And I'm worried about what's going to happen when the Cup goes, if the Cup goes to Qatar in 2022. They're approaching 100 degree, 110, 120 degrees in temperatures.
It's a joke, and I don't think they should play it there.
I think they're creating certain fields with technology where there's air conditioning or
the mist.
cold air will be.
Yeah.
Well, I would say cold air will be blown, just like I believe now they have also in baseball in the dugout. They have the air conditioning. So this is what they want to do. Maybe fields that close. And you're playing in a set temperature like a dome, something like that. That's what they're thinking of doing, unless they want to vote again and give it to somebody else.
What did you think, Frank, about the timeout, the water breaks for professional players? I mean,
that's just ridiculous. How do you have water breaks for one game and no water break for another game?
After you reach a certain temperature. I think above 85 degrees.
But most of these coaches, I mean, you could use it as a timeout, a strategy. Anyway, my take on that, you weren't for it, right? You didn't like it. Jamie, what'd you think about that? The timeout, the water breaks. They called it water breaks officially.
Well, I'm curious to know, with these water breaks, does some of the time that gets elapsed, does it get used as extra time?
Yes.
Yeah, they'll put the referee
Yes,
will
it
put
does.
them on extra time.
I think it's a great idea. The only negative side that I see, because if my team is playing before the water break and I have the momentum, I'm attacking and I have the momentum, and then boom.
Well, see, that's
then I have
the thing.
to stop
The
for a couple of
referee,
minutes.
right? The referee's discretion to stop the game.
Absolutely.
It's up to him when to call the water break. I don't have a problem with it, but I give it to every game. You got to have every game do it. You can't just pick and choose
Also,
cities.
What I think would be a good idea, and we saw a lot of games going into overtime, allow an extra sub in overtime.
Yeah.
For each team.
Yeah, that's I
For
think
each team.
we might see that change eventually, since they're going to these countries where it's 95 degrees and 90% humidity. You know, like Brazil. Again, do it across the board. Give it to everybody. Give a water break to everybody. And I think, was it 30 minutes?
After 30, correct.
After 30 minutes, right?
Right.
You're allowed to.
Between the 28 and 30 minutes,
Okay,
right.
that's right,
From
Dor.
28 to 30,
Right,
the
that's right.
referee would blow the whistle and everybody would have a 2-minute.
All right, let's
2-minute
dissect.
water break.
Give me a country. Let's dissect another country here.
Well, I think we should talk about the two countries that had the entire world talking about it. Germany, the winners, and Brazil. And
Pick one and we'll.
well, we know that Brazil did not have to qualify because they were the host team. I personally think, besides Thiago Silva, Oscar, and Neymar, Brazil had no talent whatsoever.
And I agree.
To me, Fred, Bernard, Hulk, they are soccer players, but not talent soccer players. I mean, you cannot expect a Fred. They're not the Romarios or the Ronaldos of the Brazil back then.
Back
Plus,
in good days, yeah.
the Brazilian mentality where they were playing home, and they thought that mentally that would be enough. That they will go on the field, we are Brazil, we are playing home, we're going to attack you, we're going to play, we're going to win with style, we're going to win with finesse. And that was the biggest mistake they made, because they did not adapt to the game and to their opponent. They were attacking the first 10 minutes, leaving all the field open for Germany, and that's all that Germany needed, because let's not forget, Germany has quality and the physicality.
Let's back up, Jamie. Let's go right from the first game. I think they got a gift from the referee for a PK. Frank, anytime you feel free, jump in.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
let's start from the beginning.
I saw that replay over and over and over. I mean, granted, there was a bit of a touch there, but you can't call a foul there.
That wasn't a PK.
It's just nonsense.
Well,
this is exactly why you have fans chasing referees out of the stadium and into the tunnel.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie, let's not forget, you have to call certain referees from certain federations. Not every federation in the world, not every championship in the world can be compared to the famous ones. So now you have these referees that do refs in other championships where there isn't any contact. Right. The level is not there. So if they see a simple contact, they'll call it.
Right.
And that you're usually going to see during the group stage. And you have to be lucky and pray not to find one of those referees that can really ruin 2 years of work that you did because of a stupid call, because they're not capable. They don't come from championships where they ref certain games. I think the best game that was ref was Brazil-Chile. The English ref, Webb.
Right, he's a good ref.
He is the best in the world.
We'll get into the refs in a minute, but let's get back to Brazil. I really got to get on them a little bit here, because, like you said, they think they could put on that jersey and they could get a result just by wearing the jersey, Jamie.
Yeah, those days are long gone.
Right.
And he mentioned it best. Gone are the days of Romario, Ronaldo, Dunga, who was the coach during one of their disastrous runs a few years ago. But I'm curious to know, what would have happened if Neymar did not get hurt? Would Brazil have had a different result, or would have been the same result?
With Thiago Silva and the Neymar, the result might have been a little different, but not to avoid a loss. Well, it could have been. Let's be realistic here. Germany stopped after the first half. It could have been more. Germany has quality. Germany has fitness. And when you leave a huge field ahead where Germany has a Schweinsteiger, a Cross, Gedira, where they have physicality and they have quality feet.
The machine.
They will pass you.
They will machine.
And it was a joke. It was like a kid's joke trying to score. Oh, give it to me. Oh, let me give it back to you. Oh, give it to me. I want to score. You want to score. I mean, that was, it became really,
God.
I mean, 29 minutes, it was already 5-0. And I guess Germany, I guess Brazil did not watch France against Germany. You need to be compact. You need to, you cannot open yourself up to Germany because they will hurt you. And that's what happened Bayern Munich against Real Madrid. If you remember the semifinal, Bayern Munich was attacking. And then what did Real Madrid do on counterattack? Ronaldo, Di Maria, Bale, boom, boom, 5 goals.
Yeah.
Good night, sayonara, arrivederci.
They're in a different world. They don't know how to play the game the same. Brazil and Germany, just right. Just
well, it's the style that Brazil wants to play. We're home. This is our house. We're going to play our style of soccer.
Right.
We're going to show the world how it's played. We will attack you. We will do it our way.
Can you imagine?
And then, technically speaking, John, the only thing they knew how to do before, during, and after the game was cry.
Right.
I never saw so many players crying at the end of the game, raising their heads and crying and crying and crying.
No.
You need to be men on the field.
No
Forget
crying.
about the tears.
No crying in soccer. I mean, that's #1 rule. We do not cry in soccer.
I never saw so many tears.
All right, you know what? Enough with the Brazil. I mean, really, for me, my take on Brazil, Jamie, was I knew from the get-go, the group stage. I mean, are these ping pong balls that they pull in December, are they fixed?
I don't think so.
Wouldn't surprise me if they were. I mean, we had.
You don't think so, Ludo?
I don't think so. But
All
Brazil
right,
needs to
anyway.
reconstruct. Brazil needs to go back to their clubs, to the youth system, and start developing some talent. Because just because your last name is a Brazilian last name, that doesn't guarantee you have talent.
I agree. So they really have a lot of work to do.
Yes, they do have a lot of work
more
to
than
do.
The United States, though,
yes,
right?
Spain has work to do.
But
Brazil.
Spain, you know, Spain has won the last 3 tournaments prior to this one. We leave them. Spain, for my mind, leave them alone. They're fine. They're going to regroup.
I think Spain, the thing that really hurt them the most, the locker room was not together before they got to the World Cup.
What about them just being tired of playing? They've won. They've done everything. They've won 3 major tournaments. Correct? Right? You know, they said, that's it. Pack it in. You know, we're here for a vacation. You know. Anyway, Spain, they'll be back. Definitely, they will be. You know, they have a lot of good players coming up. Brazil has a lot more work than the United States to do. Correct? They have a lot more work, even though they got talented players.
It's two different. It's 2 different countries. If Brazilian will develop the talent, they will go to play in Europe, and that's what Brazilian soccer wants.
Right.
They want their stars to go play in Europe. United States has to build the stars and has to send them to Europe to play, and not to MLS if you want to compete in the World Cup and be a serious contender. So Klinsmann, in his own way, smaller than Germany, he's trying to do the same thing that Germany did 10 years ago when the German national team, when the federation went to their clubs and said, this is what we have to do at a youth level, this is how we have to play, this is what we need to develop, this is going to be our style of play. From youth to adult, every club, Bundesliga, all the clubs were together, they shake hands, they say, okay, we're all in the project.
How do you think he felt after watching Germany win?
Part of it also is, I mean, he started this program 13 years ago.
In 2006, it was
correct. Look how many players also on the German national team are not German born. One of the parents is from Germany. Look at Ozil and the other play that they're not from they're not from like Schweinsteiger or the goalkeeper or the other players. Well, they're from.
There's one thing for sure. There's no crying on this show. All right, we're not going to be crying here. No guys are crying here. All right, we pretty much dissect Brazil. You know, I hate to do it, but we got to get on the Italians before we move on. We have to break them down a little bit. And we'll start with Frank, and then we'll work your way. Because I know, Ludo, you have a lot to say about the Italians. Frank, the Italian national team. A
Age,
disgrace or a pass?
disgrace.
Disgrace.
You cannot make the knockout round.
You have to get through, right? In your mind, you have to get through.
You have to.
Yeah. All right.
Age,
Is this 2 straight World Cups for them that they don't make the
No, they did make the
that they,
knockout. 2010, they did make the
2010? Then it would probably be what, 2 out of the last 3?
Well,
Would they
in
never
06,
got past,
in 06 they won it all.
Okay.
So,
Well,
2010.
In regards to Italy, every 12 years something happens with us. This is based on tradition. So let's go back to 1982. We won it.
Yes.
Then what happened in 94, 12 years later?
We lost in the finals to Brazil.
What happened in 2006?
We won it.
We won it. So what's going to happen in 2006?
Oh, so you see a pattern.
I see a pattern
All
of
right.
every
I'm
12
with you.
years of something that will happen. So
I'm with you on
maybe
that.
in 2018 we will reach.
All right, you know what?
We will
Control
reach
room.
the.
I think Brian, you got a little Roland to play for us. Just to remind the Italian fans out there that there is hope. So play that Roland. While he's doing that, you know, I gotta believe that they're gonna come back. Here's the Roland. Let's take a look. Is there any sound to this?
Are we going to see a Balotelli goal?
Something like that. I mean, there's got to be hope. After you see this shot here,
Well,
it disappeared. So we didn't.
Balotelli.
Yeah.
Balotelli is a great player.
Yeah.
But in order for Balotelli, he's not a champion.
Right.
Balotelli is not a champion. Balotelli is, at the moment, he lives in a virtual world of his own, where he thinks that everyone outside of that virtual world has to change for him.
All right, I think they're trying to get that. Here it is. Okay, let's just give the Italian fans out there a little bit of hope.
So, if he, there you go. It's a great goal. It's a great shot. But remember, Balotelli is right now is a player where every once in a while he will do something good, and then he'll go back to sleep. And then again he will do, but he's not consistent. He lives in a virtual world. It's time to grow up, and this is what happened in the World Cup. He thinks everybody is against him.
Well, you know, to be fair to him, there's a lot of racists going towards him. You know, it's not fair from in his own country there. A lot of racist remarks towards him, and he said it publicly that bothers him. You know, I've seen a video clip after the World Cup from an Italian saying to him, "Balotelli, retire. You're not Italian."
Well,
you know what I mean?
He also looks for trouble. He also is the typical player where he looks for trouble and he starts certain things. He needs to leave his virtual world. He needs to really decide what he wants to do, because, in my opinion, he only has a couple of years. And that's what happened to Cassano, where he had the opportunity to play Real Madrid.
True.
He went to Real Madrid, and then if he continues like this, Balotelli, in a couple of years, we will see him in a Parma team, Chievo team, Catania team, play for a Serie A team, and this is because nobody will give him an opportunity anymore.
I think maybe someone needs to take him under his wing, keep him
tried.
close.
A lot of people.
I know. Brandella tried too, right?
Prandelli tried. Prandelli, with the veterans of the team, he put his reputation on the line. First, he tried to change the team by playing more possession soccer, and the veterans agreed. Then he wanted to take certain players, and he said, I believe these players will do well. We're trying to change mentality, and everybody was okay with it.
All right.
Then Costa Rica, he put the wrong formation in.
Yeah, they fell asleep.
And the game progressed, and we lost 1-0. And after the Costa Rica game, that's when the locker room started breaking up, and technically speaking, chairs started flying in the locker room.
And after the Uruguay game, unfortunately, we know what happened in that game. The bite, I think, was the most talked about thing in that game, because right after that, that's where they scored the goal, right? And you know what? It is what it is. They didn't get through. But I definitely have faith in
the hope that you were mentioning, John, this is true. For the Italians, in order for us to regroup and to do something nice, something big, we have to we have to hit the ground. We have to be humiliated in order for
back.
us to come back. And also in 1974, you guys do not remember this, I remember,
sure.
the World Cup in Germany, Italy did not make it past the first round, the group stage in 1974.
74.
And look what happened in 78 in Argentina. We finished 4th. We beat Argentina. And then in 1982, we won it.
So there is a pattern. And
There
you
is
know
a
what?
pattern here.
You know
So-
what? We have time now. In September, we start qualifying for the European Championship, which is just like the World Cup without these South American teams. So we have a chance to redeem ourselves in that tournament.
Plus, it's going to be 24 teams instead of 16.
All right, we're gonna end it with the World Cup, except for we're gonna just touch on the referees. Italy did have a say. Italy was in the final. The referee was Italian, correct?
Yes.
So we did have, which is, I think I was.
Well, the Italians
I was
referees,
proud of that.
they're always respect. I agree.
Right. We
Italians
had a pretty
referees are
good-
respect. The third referee
Right.
to
So-
play the World Cup. And I have a question for you guys. Who you think the next Italian coach should be?
Well, that, I think I heard, for me, Ancelotti, I would like to see him there. I don't think.
I agree. I agree with you. I think Ancelotti has the charisma. He has the experience. And I think if he does get the call, I think he should leave Real Madrid because at this point, he did win the 10th Champions League,
Sure.
what the club wanted.
Right.
He has nothing more to prove at a club level.
Right.
He'll leave Real Madrid as a winner, and he'll do something for his country. And if you guys haven't heard today, the Juventus coach resigned.
Oh, Conte. Really?
Conte resigned today, and I guess something
Possibility for the national team?
very
That's a
well
shocker.
possibility, even though I hope Ancelotti gets the call and he'll leave the Real Madrid and
Jamie, any thoughts on the referees?
Well, aside from the fact that the majority of them were horrible, except for maybe a handful of games,
Well, you know what?
nothing really surprised me in regards to
The
the
referees are just like the players. They get eliminated, and they keep the best, and they keep moving on. That's how,
Of
that's how
course.
they rate them.
well, the reason why Webb did not do the final this year, the English ref, because he did it 4 years ago.
Oh, so there you go. But I think the Italian referee was
Absolutely.
fair. I think he was
He is
fair.
one of the best.
He was on top of his
Italian
game.
referees are respected
Right.
around the
All
around
right,
the
we
world.
got a few more minutes. I think Jamie and Frank, if you have any, let's get on the MLS here. I mean, how's the progress going with this league here? Is it still a laughing stock of the world, this league?
Well, this is their 19th season, so obviously they have to be doing something right.
Doing something right, but they're not even playing this sport at the right time of year, I think.
Well, it's hard to have to play a game in the middle of March when the season begins and the weather is still cold and there's still problems with occasional rain. At the same time, I'm not sure that a change in what part of the year they should go to is going to really matter. Besides, you have the NFL, which starts in September. What would happen if MLS started their season then? Their ratings would be completely dwarfed.
So you think we'd lose fans?
Because of the
you
football
would lose
season.
a
Really?
lot
So-
more fans because of the NFL.
Well, so there's really nothing they could do as far as when they could start their season, right? But people go
Yeah.
on vacation in the summertime.
Well, it's also
better weather.
I agree with Jamie because people that follow soccer in this country, they also follow other sports. Basketball is very popular, the NFL. So I think in September, if you have a great football game on TV and a soccer game, even I think the fan will go for the football game, even though because of the culture and because of the country and the environment that we live in, that we will tune to that channel because it is given to us. It is thrown at us by every channel where
Right.
NFL basketball or other sports and baseball will always come.
So I'm going to throw it
first
out
in
there.
this country.
All right, so anyone can answer this. I mean, what can this league do to improve ratings, fans coming to see the games? What can they do?
Market their stars better because there are some stars in the league that really are not getting the clout that they really should be getting.
I mean, you mentioned the Seattle.
The Seattle-Portland game,
They have a great fan base.
Seattle's got a tremendous fan
So
base.
Seattle's got a Super Bowl champion. And now they got this great
And the
soccer
Sounders drew 64,000 fans for that Portland game. Of course, it didn't help that the game started at 10 o'clock in the evening. That's why their ratings were so low.
That was actually followed the World Cup final, right? The Portland game?
Yeah.
That was right
Yeah,
after.
the evening. It was an evening.
So what other market? New York is not, I mean, they're coming up with a new team.
Yeah, supposedly
season,
they're going to
right?
be getting
In
a
New
new
York.
team that's going to play at Citi Field.
So what's their average? Anybody know for the Red Bull? What are they averaging a game?
I would say maybe 20,000 a game.
I don't think
But that's in a smaller stadium.
Well, that stadium
Red Bull
only
Arena.
sits 20, I think, right? Mm-hmm. And this new FC team is going to be playing in Yankee Stadium. Is that correct?
Citi
Yes.
Field, supposedly.
City?
No, in the Bronx, Yankee Stadium.
Oh, they will be
They're
playing in Yankee
at
Stadium.
New York FC. They're
That's
together
interesting.
with their partners with the New York Yankees.
And what's the other team that partners with in England?
Manchester City.
Right? Man City and the Yankees own
Correct.
them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're
Manchester
going to be
City.
playing in Yankee Stadium. So they could actually fill that. If they fill that stadium, was it 50?
Yeah.
56,000?
They should have no problem there because there are a lot of British soccer fans here in the New York area.
Does that stadium have the dimensions of a soccer field?
They do. Only a little bit of the dirt, the infield dirt. They also signed David Villa.
Yes, I saw that. But
He's coming, and plus other players. But
can he
you always-
attract players? That guy is old, isn't he? He's washed. Isn't he old?
Well, but that's
The
what
name?
it's the this league is attracting the retired players
Right.
from Europe, the aged players, the names, and you're getting the younger
Right.
players from CONCACAF or other, but not from the important ones in Europe. They're not going to come here. Look what happened with Diamante and Gilardino. They're going to China to play for Lippi. They're not going to get called for the national team anymore because
Done.
they play in a championship where the intensity and the mental approach is not there.
Not there.
And that's how Diamante lost the world. I mean, the getting called for the World
Now,
Cup.
Doesn't money have anything to do with it? Are they going to get paid if they come to this country playing, or is they're better off just playing?
Well, there's more money there. Here, the league signs the contract for you.
Jamie, isn't that a big thing?
Yeah, it's a huge thing. I mean,
contract, really.
there's a big difference between playing for, what, $50,000 or $60,000 a year here in the States, as opposed to making
Pounds.
$5 to $10 million a year playing either in
Right.
England or Italy or Spain.
Yeah.
Not only that, but you have exceptions like David Beckham, who signed for about $5 million, but the majority of that was endorsements.
Right. Yeah.
Plus, don't
Unawares.
forget the biggest endorsement he had, that he could start his own MLS franchise.
And he's
Undercut.
part of a team in Miami.
Correct.
Yeah.
Are they
Correct.
coming out next season too?
Correct.
So this league is coming up with new cities, with new clubs.
They're expanding.
They're expanding, but there's no
Beckham
talent.
is a businessman.
Right.
Beckham came here because of a
Right.
business,
Okay. All right.
from a business point of
So
view,
they're
not because of
expanding, but
soccer.
there's definitely no talent, right? There's really no talent in the league, really.
There is no talent, there is no intensity.
All right, guys, that's the music. You know what? A great show.
Thank you so much.
You know what? It was a good World Cup. Welcome, guys. Thank you for coming on. Ludovico, Jamie, Frank. You guys are welcome on the show anytime. And I think we're going to have the Cosmos cheerleaders come on now. All right? Yeah, the Cosmos cheerleaders take over the show. We'll see you guys soon. Guys, go in the front. Go in the front, not by the wire. Okay?